let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
I believe Bob Arum, Frank Warren, and Eddie Hearn would have at least attempted to rein in whoever was involved with some of the shenanigans going on over the PBC, while Al Heyman basically allows certain individuals to run around like feral dogs. Now, when you've got naive, vulnerable young men like Ryan, bamboozled by Floyd Mayweather, who took him out running, I believe, and gassed him up so much that Ryan came back and said, "This is my advisor or mentor." Next thing, Ryan believes he's fighting Rolly Romero from TMT. And rumor has it that Floyd advised him not to take the Devin Haney fight. He comes back to his promoter. "I'm not fighting Devin, I'm fighting Rolly Romero." Only for the PBC to flip the script and Rolly's fighting Pitbull Cruz. What if Devin had said, "No, you've lost your chance. Why should I give you a fight?" Ryan's title shot would have been scuppered. And look, the way he's acting, it might be scuppered anyway. Yeah. There's some video on social media. We got him, RIP Ryan, bitch. We told you we were coming, 666. And the video was 666 in length, 6 minutes, 66 seconds. I haven't seen it. His ex-wife says, no, he's alive, but he's heavily oppressed and there's rumors about drugs. And some people think this shit could be a troll to try and throw Devin off. Well, if anyone it's going to work against, if it's a troll, it's Ryan. You're doing too much if that's the case. I don't believe it's a troll. I believe a lot of it was coming out is exaggerated and made up, but I believe there's serious issues there with Ryan at the same time. Ryan is under pressure. He's under pressure. He's only had the one fight since losing to Tank against Duarte, where he was doing the shoulder roll and not looking good doing it. And obviously, he hasn't made full adjustment to Derek James and his coaching methods. And now he's got to fight Devin. Ideally, Golden Boy, in my opinion, this is just my take, would have liked him to fight maybe another Oscar Duarte level opponent, and then maybe an Arnold Barboza, who might replace Ryan if he doesn't show up in the ring. And then go after the Devins. Then go after the Tank rematch, etc., etc. But with the unpredictability and fragility of Ryan mentally, I don't like using that phrase cash out, but it's as good as anything I can think up right now. They can't afford to try and develop this kid right now. Just push him in the big fights. And Ryan isn't coping well with the pressure. And there might be other factors externally. Yeah, it's not good. And yeah, Floyd is trying to destabilize Ryan, Devin, their potential fight. It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. And Floyd's playing dirty. I kind of felt for Devin a little because he looked up to Floyd so much, and then for Floyd to do that, it must have been hard to take, but he knows now. This is the way of the world. I don't know what Floyd was trying to achieve, if he's trying to fuck with Devin's head for the fight, trying to sabotage the Garcia fight for Devin. I don't know if he has a vendetta against Devin or maybe Bill. I don't know what that is. And some people are going to say, well, how do you know Floyd leaked the tape? Well, it was in his gym. Surely it's not a large number of people who had access to the tape to leak it. There's no way that tape leaves Floyd's hands without Floyd knowing who's got it. Luis Ortiz was penciled in to fight Efe Ajagba on Top Rank, but for whatever reason, Ajagba is now facing Guido Vianello, the Italian heavyweight, and Luis Ortiz is left out there in the cold. Hasn't been mentioned on the PBC schedule. His last fight was in Colombia. He's in his mid-40s. I think he's still worth a fight or two, if matched correctly. I know Jared Anderson is hemmed up in the legal system. He should stay on the phone with Top Rank, and hopefully if Jared comes out, he could get that fight. That'd be a good fight for Jared. You know, Jared's still got to get past the C-level bracket of heavyweight before he can really be considered a force. Hopefully Luis Ortiz gets a fight soon. He is in his mid-40s, but I think he can still give a few of them heavyweights out there a run for their money. What's happened to Andy Ruiz? He hasn't fought since he beat Luis Ortiz. When was that? September 2022? And the thing is, you know, like, Ortiz, Ruiz haven't been added to the Amazon Prime schedule. How are they going to run this schedule, Amazon Prime and the PBC, with no heavyweights? The heavyweight, like, we got an undisputed fight this year, like, challenging for these titles. The most lucrative thing in boxing right now. Adam Karanaki, He was PBC, got dismantled in Poland. Luis Ortiz fighting in Colombia. Ruiz inactive, no Wilder. I don't know what's happened to Charles Martin. It just seems strange that you're going to try and organize a schedule with a new broadcasting network and don't have no heavyweight schedule. It just seems very strange. So you've probably heard the news. Canelo could be going back to the PBC. Eddie's saying that they've made an offer for him to fight on DAZN, more than likely against Munguia. So has the PBC, and Canelo's going to make a decision. The way the internet is talking, more than likely he's going back to the PBC, but we'll see. In some ways, it's not the worst thing to spread out the big cards on the world scene. I mean, Matchroom and Queensbury, they've got Knockout Chaos this Friday, AJ versus NGANNOU, staying in Riyadh. There's Fury versus USYK Undisputed. And if you take Canelo away from the PBC, because maybe to bankroll some of them Canelo purses, he'd have to go to Riyadh at DAZN. If you take him away from the PBC, there's not really much big action going on in America. And yeah, DAZN want to clean up, have all the heavyweight action in Saudi, and then get some of that Mexican action with Canelo. But it's not the worst thing if it's distributed a little more evenly. Not saying that I wouldn't like to see Canelo on DAZN, but in saying that, a Canelo fight against Munguia, not a big priority in the UK. It's a bigger priority in the US and Mexico, in all truth. There's no doubt Canelo left the PBC because he wasn't satisfied with how they were handling his guarantee and what opponent he had to face for the guarantee. And he did go over to DAZN, but obviously DAZN weren't going to just throw him whatever number he asked for and whatever opponent he asked for. And Canelo has become a mercenary. If you're a fan, you know what I mean, you don't accept that. He's become a mercenary. And he's obviously ran off back to the PBC now to see what he can salvage out of this free fight deal. Like I said before, I don't know if you remember me saying, why isn't Bob Arum trying to get a piece of this? Bob's probably crunching the numbers, and him being a lawyer and a shrewd businessman, he's not seeing the value in it. And I don't think DAZN saw the value. So for all the PBC fans saying Canelo rejected DAZN because he wanted to stay at the PBC, this isn't a game of favoritism at all. That's not what this is. This is highest bidder. Highest bidder wins. Canelo wants these massive guarantees, which the PBC signed off for, and they don't want to fall victim to breach of contract, so they've got to try and work something out. But look, Showtime are out the game, Fox out the game, HBO out the game, because the numbers and the viewing figures are not adding up like that to pay people these exorbitant guarantees. You know, we're paying £20 in the UK for Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, ZHANG versus Parker on the undercard, £20. And for what the American boxing fans have been paying, the Riyadh cards have been way better value in terms of what is in the ring and what they've got to fork out of their pockets. This is not sustainable. Like Canelo is not sustainable, and he's going to be the last of the cash cow fighters in America for a little while. And once this gig is up with the PBC, he ain't getting no love with Arum, and I don't know what DAZN are willing to pay up. He's going to retire soon. I see him retiring soon. I haven't got the receipts on the timeline, but either the PBC miscalculated that Showtime were going out the game, or they made the free fight deal with Canelo thinking that the Showtime money was going to be there, but that's not there anymore. I have a feeling that DAZN, although they were entertaining the return of Canelo, I have a feeling they're happy that PBC are kind of stuck with the issue of how you're going to pay him these guarantees for these remaining 2 fights in this current climate. And you've only got 12, 14 dates for the year. You're spending all your budget on Canelo's 2 fights, and you ain't even getting David Benavidez for that to possibly try and market a big fight to recoup and make some serious profit. Conor Benn awaiting NADP decision on the UKAD British Boxing Board of Control appeal. It's all systems go for Conor to take a big fight. Frank Smith is still working on the Eubank fight, despite Eddie saying that's dead in the water, or words to that effect. Frank Smith is still working on that fight. Conor is now ranked by the WBA number 3. He's in the number 3 spot. He was already ranked number 3 by the WBC. There's going to be detractors who don't want to see him fight, but he will be back in the ring. UK, America, he's going to be back in the ring. And more than likely his next fight is going to be pay-per-view. The Danny Garcia fight would be really good in the UK at an O2 arena. Tyson Fury will be in Riyadh on Saturday to watch his brother Roman, and no doubt keep an eye on the Joshua NGANNOU fight, Parker versus ZHANG. He says the cut has now healed up. He'll be ready for May the 18th, and he says he'll stop USYK in 7. Well, I'm not surprised he said that. He's not exactly a shrinking violet pre-fight. And I think it's good that he sets goals and targets like that. Why not? Fury is not the type of guy who can just be motivated day to day like that. He has to think big to get up for the occasion. May the 18th, we will be crowned the undisputed champion, barring a draw. May the best man win.
I've always liked Anthony Joshua. I've never said anything wrong about him. He's a great fighter, Olympic gold medalist, you know, and he's done a lot for boxing. Let's not forget that, you know. And he is a good fighter, you know, and he will be a world champion again. But I couldn't get over how really big he was. The man's a unit, you know, but he's always been a nice guy, a respectful man. He showed me respect. He was lovely, and it was heartfelt. You know, and I got nothing but admiration and respect for Anthony Joshua. It was a great moment for me, yeah.
I was waiting for John to say he got a signed autograph and a photo, so I could call him a full-fledged fanboy. Now, he's always spoke up highly of Anthony Joshua, and he seemed like genuinely pleased to meet him. John might change his mind when he sees something like this. AJ says he doesn't respect Fury because of what Fury says, and he wants him to get his jaw cracked. He's rooting for USYK to beat Fury. So that might be short-lived, the bromance between AJ and John.
I'm going to put you both on the spot. Turkey Al Sheikh has told us we've got 2 semi-finals, right? So we've got AJ NGANNOU, we've got Fury USYK, and they're going to meet each other. Give me one name who comes out on top of all that.
Alexander Usyk.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think for big heavyweights, modern day heavyweights, a lot of the time for a lot of the big heavyweights, their kryptonite is lateral movement, very, very quick cruiserweights who've come up.
So it's not just AJ rooting against Tyson Fury, but this one was unexpected. Tyson Fury's former promoter, his first promoter turning pro, MICK Hennessy, is picking USYK to defeat him. Now, 9 years ago, around the time when Fury won his world titles against Vladimir Klitschko, this would be unthinkable. Like, the bond was so tight between the Furies and MICK Hennessy. There was declarations that they'll always stay together. But after Tyson won the belts, Frank Warren kind of muscled Mick out of the picture. And then there was lawsuits. Mick sued Tyson for 1.5. In the comment section, they were saying that Mick is bitter because Tyson went his own way. But at the same time, Mick was promoting Fury when he fought Steve Cunningham in Philly and was getting outboxed and floored, although Tyson pulled it round. So his assessment that the cruiserweights with that speed and athleticism is the kryptonite to these big heavies. So you can understand why he's making that assessment. But, you know, they weren't having it. They're saying he's bitter. And he did once say, when Tyson Fury left, that hurt the most. Not going to quote no bars from the Arrivals because neither man gets very emotional unless they're pushed. They both seem very confident. So you could say they're playing their cards close to their chests by not making no animated gestures. NGANNOU, though, you know what's really stuck in my mind? It's when he said in the face-off, they asked for the fight not to be 12 rounds. Because this is not his discipline. He hasn't had 12-rounders. He's never had a 12-rounder. He had the 10-rounder against Tyson Fury, and that's it. So I don't know if he was trying to use some kidology to say, oh, I don't want to do a 12-rounder. Trying to gas AJ up that you're the real boxer, I'm not. Perhaps. But just remind you that this isn't his discipline at the end of the day. It's not his discipline. You know, he's already spoke about how he doesn't care about winning or losing. He just wants to be in good fights. Good mindset. But surely he wants to win the fight. You can't believe there's no pressure on him at all. He floored Tyson Fury in his last fight. AJ looks very much tunnel visioned in. Like he's almost blocking out whatever's around him, the voices, the scenery. Has he gone through this so-called phase where it was said that he was uncertain about the mental aspect of his game? How much confidence has he got from that Otto Wallin performance? Getting the one-up on Tyson Fury, comparing performances. Is this Ben Davison, Lee Wiley hook up the real deal? They look good against Otto Wallin. Can NGANNOU push him? I can't pick NGANNOU to win, and a lot of people can say, yeah, well, you're an AJ fan. I've got AJ winning the fight. I believe he's the better fighter. Now, Ngannou can crack. Will he make AJ have to prove that he can take that type of power? Because people have doubts over AJ's resilience. So it's interesting. AJ's up against a big puncher, if not a conventional boxer, still a big puncher, in Floyd Tyson Fury, and was feared in the UFC MMA world. The longer it goes, Ngannou didn't appear to have no stamina issues against Fury. AJ is the more established pro, although some say he has stamina issues. I think the longer it goes, the more it benefits Anthony Joshua. He's got more tools in his box. He's more experienced at doing the 10, 12 round duration. He will be looking to get a stoppage, I believe. It's hard to say if he can, because Ngannou looks like a tough lad. Took everything Tyson Fury through, including the elbow. I've got AJ winning, and a comprehensive points win would be good. A late stoppage would be good. If you can get through a tough fight without taking too much damage, that would be good too. That would be good too. Joseph Parker, if he can weather the early assaults from Zhang, he has a shot at winning it, actually, because I know he got knocked out by Joyce, but styles make fights. Joyce looked very heavy in the legs in the rematch, and Parker won't be as heavy-legged as that. Zhang is good, a bona fide contender, but is he this elite killer like everybody's saying? He has the chance to prove it. I don't want to get too gassed off the Joseph Parker performance, because like Zhang said, Wilder was so inactive, so rusty, you know what I mean? Like, gotta give Parker full credit for taking the fight and winning. I've got Parker maybe shading a close points decision, coming on strong with a late surge in the late rounds. Zhang flagged late against Hrgovic, and he flagged against Jerry Forrest. It's a 12-rounder, and them championship rounds could be the difference for Joe Parker getting that W. Yeah, weighing up this match, I'm not getting gassed on Parker beating Wilder. I'm also not getting too gassed on Zhang beating Joe Joyce. Don't get me wrong. These are some of the best wins on both men's records, and they're great wins. But if you're talking about styles make fights, Joe's been getting lit up in a few fights where he's juggernauted his way through the punishment and managed to come out in the end as the winner. This time he paid for his I can take whatever you got, but can you take whatever I throw attitude. It's a very good matchup nonetheless. Looking forward to Nick Ball and Ray Vargas. Haven't really broke it down. It's for the WBC featherweight title, I believe. Vargas, another PBC fighter who defected, the champion, against Ball, who showed explosive bursts of punching at times against Dogbay last time out, points win, but showed a bit of vulnerability as well, you know. So that's an interesting one. Good news, Madrimov versus KUBARNOV is back on. Madrimov, Robert Smith, the British Boxing Board of Control Secretary, said he never failed a medical, so why wouldn't the fight be on? So it's back on. That's for the WBA light middleweight title, the full title. Charlo got stripped, so the fight's been elevated to full title. Knockout Chaos, Friday the 8th. Let's go.